John is nice enough to join us now. John, it's Michael and Don. How you doing?
I'm doing great, guys. How about yourselves?
Not too bad. I liked what I saw of CC, and I especially liked that the velocity hung around 90, 92. I think if he stays there, he could actually pitch okay this year. If he's at 87, 88, I'm not sure.
Well, I agree with you, and, obviously it did end up the way he wanted to. He gave up a couple of hits. He made some bad pitches at the end, but I was very pleasantly surprised. He put some weight back on, and I thought he looked stronger. I thought the ball was coming out of his hand a little bit better. It had some more life. You mentioned the velocity, which I thought was a good sign from him, because we usually, even when CC was in his heyday, he wouldn't get his velocity going until the end of spring training, even at the beginning of the year. So I thought the Yankees should be very encouraged last night. I thought his slider was excellent. Changeup was okay. But all in all, I thought it was a great first step for him.
So what can we expect now, his second start? He said he wants to work on the changeup a little more. So will that affect the overall velocity?
No, I don't think so. I think what he wants to work on with the changeup, he was cutting his changeup last night, moving in, to the righties. So I think he's probably going to want to just kind of finish it away and get some finish moving away from the right-handers. But, I don't think it's something that CC is going to throw 15 changeups his next time out. I think the next step is progression, obviously get more pitches, maybe another inning, and just hopefully keep moving in the right direction. And I was a little surprised he admitted how nervous he was last night. You think about a veteran guy who's been through so much, but, it's been a long time since he was facing live hitters, in a competitive game. And, I thought the Yankees saw a lot last night that they probably should be pretty happy about.
The nerves, John, might come down to this, and I don't know if this is hyperbole, but I feel that maybe he's thinking, his career is in jeopardy. I mean, this is not a minor knee thing that he's dealing with. I mean, this is something that's degenerative, and he's going to have to deal with it and get injections during the season. This guy knows it. Now, every start, it's a referendum on whether or not he can do it. So I think he loves the game so much, and the nerves probably came into play.
Yeah, I think, being away for as long as he was, and then you realize, your baseball mortality is right in front of you, and, obviously you want to hold that off as long as you can for any athlete. And, this is one of those things, I was thinking about it last night when I watched both of his innings, and I went, well, wow, the Yankees really should be encouraged. But, you're 100% right, Michael. This is a start-to-start thing with that knee. I think you just cross your fingers that, you stay on top of it, you maintain it, you ice it, you try to keep the swelling out of there. And, you hope you can get him to 30 starts. That would be fantastic. But I don't think you can get too excited because the knee is always going to be a big-time concern.
We were talking about this earlier, John, and I wonder if you agree. I don't pay attention to spring training results. I wanted to see how CC looked. And tonight, you just want to get Tanaka through each game without any further tear of the UCL. I look at it and say, if Tanaka, CC, and Pineda can give the Yankees 90 combined starts and 600 innings, the Yankees are in great shape. Do you agree?
I do agree, but, one of the guys down here that everybody talks about is Eovaldi and how good he has looked. And, he's had a big-time arm forever, and he gave up a ton of hits last year in the National League. But, and I agree with you, you don't get too excited about spring training, but when you see these guys for the first time, dominant has been Pineda. He has been fantastic, and I think he's ready to take the next step. And then signed with Sabathia last night, Tanaka tonight, and then you throw Eovaldi into the mix, and you don't worry too much about your number 5 guy. I think this spring training so far for the Yankees, in my opinion, really could not have gone any better to this point. Alex Rodriguez looks better, I think, than anybody thought that he would. And the pitching so far is really some pretty good news in the rotation.
Mark Feinsand just tweeted that Jacoby Ellsbury underwent precautionary MRI, low-grade mild oblique strain, no baseball activity for the next 7 days. So that's going to affect some things over the next week or two. The team overall, outside of Alex Rodriguez, really hasn't hit. Are you concerned at all that this is going to be a major problem for this team going forward offensively?
No, I don't think so. I think you want to see, obviously, guys like Drew and Gregorius get it going a little bit. But, if you're banking or relying on those guys to be big-time contributors offensively, then this team is in trouble. I thought Mark Teixeira going the other way, hitting that home run last night was a very encouraging sign. Beltran, hit the ball the other way, had a double. So you need some of those guys to get going. But, I think at this point in spring training, you really don't put too much into it, Don. I think that last week you really need to see guys start swinging the bat a little bit better, and then, hopefully the middle of the lineup will get the job done. And if you get some, contributions from some other guys, that would be great.
Former Yankee and Yes Network commentator John Flaherty is with us. John, what do you think of Greg Bird? I keep hearing such great things about him. Have you seen much of him?
I saw a couple of at-bats, and, the one thing you like about him, he's very quiet in his approach. He's kind of got that on-base percentage philosophy. He doesn't swing at a lot of pitches outside of the zone and seems to be a real disciplined hitter. I think the power is going to come a little bit. But, it's so hard to see when these young players get into some of these games late and they get one at-bat and, you're really trying to get a feel for what they can do. But Bird, I think, is the total package in the fact that he's not a wild, aggressive swinger up there. He's very under control. Looks like he has a game plan. So I think the Yankees can expect some nice things from him.
They mentioned Gregorius getting his stride going. I mean, what do you think the ceiling is for him? Many people think that 250 is pretty much all it's going to be it. He's not even 25 years old yet. So what are your expectations of what he may hit this year?
Well, what I said last night on the air, and I was a young player who was known as a defensive guy, and, the Red Sox always said if you can hit just 250, you could be an everyday player. And the problem with me is I put so much pressure on myself that, that number 250, I got to go out and try to find a way to get some hits. And I think when I changed my philosophy when I got to Detroit and said, don't worry about batting average, just go out there and try to drive the ball, that's when things got better for me. And I see the same thing for a guy like Gregorius where, he's such a good defender. I'd hate to see him have these expectations that, I got to go 1 for 4 every night and I'll be an everyday player. Just go out there and play and be aggressive and try to continue to get better. And like I said, he doesn't have to hit for the Yankees to win. He's got to catch the ball and make all the plays and let everybody else in the middle of the lineup who are getting paid big dollars, it's their responsibility to drive in the big runs. So I think the more he can relax at the plate and not put too many expectations on himself, the better off he's going to be.
John, sometimes Don doesn't believe some of the things I say. So
I find that hard to believe. Why?
He believes you, though. So you were the MC at the Friendly Sons of St. Patrick, and I kind of roasted the GM here at the station, Tim McCarthy. Can you tell Don, did you think that I was funny?
I did think that you were funny. I was a little surprised that you went the route that you went and roasted your boss when you have a contract on the line.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was a little aggressive and maybe not your smartest moment.
Well, what does that tell you, John?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Probably not going that well, right?
Probably not going that well. So, you know what? It was a lot of fun. Timmy did a great job. Michael, you did a great job, and there were a lot of talk in Pearl River about how impressed everybody was that you showed up to be part of the night. So we thank you.